reminds us that courage isn't something you are born with, it's something you build. An author of Beyond the Sparks and the founder of Petrichor Mindworks, she transforms emotional intelligence into a true leadership superpower.
With years of experience and thousands of lives impacted, she shows us one simple truth. Fear is natural, but courage can be trained. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Parinita Kothari.
On a Sunday night of January, I received a call that changed my life forever. A truck had hit my parents' vehicle, and my father suffered multiple injuries. And my mother, she passed away on the spot. In one moment, the life I knew was gone. I was shattered by the sudden death of my mother and terrified about the condition of my father. On that day, something inside me decided that I had to be strong and remain in control. So I did what I was conditioned to do. I focused on my responsibilities and kept moving forward. I did not wait and sit down to process what I felt. People say grief fades over time, but no one really prepares you for what it leaves behind. Difficult emotions, they don't simply disappear. They sit inside you slowly and then shape you the way you think, react, and experience life. After I lost my mother, I started feeling this strange fear. I started living with it. The fear of losing my loved ones. It wasn't easy at all. The shape literally took me over. The fear literally took me over. And I started imagining the worst. I would avoid risk. And I tried to be the person who holds everything together for everyone. This was difficult because life generally takes different directions. And what happened with me was every time life did not go as planned, I felt like I had failed. From the outside, it looked completely beautiful. Everything was fine. I created a successful career, I had a loving family. And at the same time, from the inside, it was a very different place. I was always surrounded by something at the back of my mind. It made me feel like I had no control. It was difficult. We talk about how challenging the new and unknown is. But the reality is that I was trapped in the very fear of my known space. This constant noise in my head made me feel terrible. But at the same time, if the phone rang late at night, I would go into a panic. If someone came late, I would think of the worst case scenarios. I was living in a constant anticipation of loss. This was a heaviness which was very difficult to shake off. And as I talk about that period, you can see that it's not been easy. Now this brings me to a great, strange yet powerful example. How many of you know about an insect called the dung beetle? Raise your hand if you know about it. So I'll tell you, Dung beetle is a very tiny insect, and what it does is, it collects animal dung, the waste, and then it shapes it like a ball and keeps rolling it for miles together. Imagine that. And the strange and most incredible part about this insect is that these dung balls can be of about 1,000 times the weight of this insect. So such a tiny creature carrying such a heavy weight without realizing that what it carries is actually waste. We human beings are no different. We can carry our emotional burdens for years, sometimes for decades, sometimes a lifetime. And we don't question it, we don't realize, we don't release as well. And this is what creates that burden on you, which is very difficult to live with. I lived with this heaviness for about 17 years after my mother's passing. And that's when my life took another turn. I was tested yet once more. And this time, I lost a young member of my family in another accident. It was devastating. In that painful moment, something inside me broke open. And I finally took a pause and questioned myself on what was wrong with me and how long could I live like this. I knew that I was meant to feel better. I knew that my family deserved better from me, so I decided to take help and work on myself. It was then I realized that the direction that I had taken, the problems that I was solving were actually not the right problems to solve. All the distress that I carried, all the pain, all the burnout and overwhelm that I had been living with was not a result of the circumstances of that time. They were actually coming from my unprocessed emotions. So my guilt, my fear, my grief, sadness, all that I had carried for years was now sitting in my body and making me go so low. Now this is just not my story. I know this is true for most of us. Simply because the human mind is an incredible tool. What it does is it filters, different things. It filters information, then it sorts it, and then it stores them into a database. So all this is done, all the experiences are stored, and then the mind refers to them and uses them as, to interpret and to derive meaning out of whatever is happening around us. So all our responses are based on this process that's done by the human mind. So when this happens, understand that the human mind is, it doesn't store everything that comes its way. It doesn't store it equally. It focuses on two important elements. Number one, it focuses on any experience that has an emotional charge. So whenever your emotions are higher and bigger and stronger is the imprint. And the number two is whatever gets repeated is what gets recorded. So because of this, there are things, for example, if you're actually entering on the stage and you feel that anxiety, it rarely has to do with that situation on that day. It comes from a moment in the past where probably you were laughed at, or you were ridiculed, or you were made to feel small. That event passed, but the imprint remained. So, and this is why moments from years back can still trigger you today. Now what is interesting is that mind is funny in ways that, it stores and it gives more importance to negative events rather than positive events. Why does that happen? Two things again. Partly because the human brain is designed for survival, so it pays more attention to things which are threat-oriented rather than anything that has to do with ease. And the second thing is that whenever we have a painful emotion, we don't really process it fully. We don't allow it. We basically avoid it or park it aside, thinking we'll deal with it later. So whatever is not fully processed, it doesn't disappear, it stays. And in this entire thing, we keep on repeating the same experiences over and over and over again. Okay, and this is exactly why anything new and challenging that comes up, the mind would take it as a threat. And what it'll do is it'll try to pull you back and keep you in a safer zone. For mind, the familiar is safer. Now, what is the solution for this? Let me tell you that there is a solution. Solution is to work on your emotional state. Your emotional state is the one that helps you move with ease and intention. That maze that we are talking about can move with ease and intention when you work on your emotional state. Your emotions are the key to your life, to your survival, simply because your emotions shape your decisions shape your actions, and your actions creates your life. If I could get that time and go back in the past and speak to my older self, my younger self, the girl who just lost her mother, I would tell her that you don't have to hold it all together. You don't have to stay strong every day. Just feel what you feel and allow yourself to feel, because when that happens, you stop carrying the load. And that is your gateway to going through this maze with ease and grace. And to all of you who is here, build yourself with strong emotions, pause, reflect, and keep moving forward. Thank you.